Now, throughout the history of horror, it's very rare to see a sequel surpass the original.
Sequels suck. No, wow. Come on, man. Oh, please. By definition alone, they're inferior films.
And Child's Play 2 is definitely an exception to the rule, which is what we're going to be talking about today. So, let's get spooky. Greetings everyone, my name is Nightshade, this is The Night Shift, a home for all things spooky, and today we're looking at Child's Play 2, released in 1990. And this is by far my favorite film in the franchise. Now, for everything that the original Child's Play got right, Child's Play 2 just does it a little bit better. We've got better kills, we've got better quips, we've got better puppeteering, just everything in this film is vastly superior to the original. And I'm super excited to talk about it, so let's go ahead and get into the review. Now, if you're new to the channel, I just want to let you guys know how I do my reviews. Rather than telling the story beat for beat and giving my criticisms along the way, instead what I do is I actually break this down into two categories, the positives and the negatives, and I'll let you know what I liked about this movie and what I didn't like about this movie, and then I'm going to talk about my favorite scene and why it is my favorite scene, and then we will score this out of 10 and end the video. But here on The Night Shift, we always start off on the bright side with So after the events in Child's Play 1, Andy Barkley is now in the foster care system because his mother has kind of been locked away in the nut house for believing that her son's stories of a killer doll were real. Chucky is then reassembled and brought back to life, somehow, magically, I don't know. But after being brought back to life, Chucky is hell-bent on finding Andy and completing the soul swap ritual. But you know, the story in this film is pretty phenomenal. It is a great continuation of the original 1988 story, and I think it's a great way to progress and continue telling the story of Chucky and Andy. And even though there are still some of the same similar story beats from the original, it doesn't feel like it's retreading too much, and it also doesn't feel contrived in any way, shape, or form, at least not to me. The most important part of any film is the story, and the story in this film is one that I very much like. Moving on to our next positive, we have... Now, this one might be a little bit of a controversial positive because I've seen people tearing the cinematography in this film apart. I actually really love the cinematography in this film. Everything is shot from a low angle with a super wide lens, and I like it because, one, I like shooting wide, and two, I just like the aspect of seeing things from either a child's perspective or a homicidal killer doll's perspective. But yeah, within the realm of the Child's Play fandom, the Chucky fandom, the only really big complaint that I see most people have is the cinematography in this film, and I disagree. I think the cinematography is great. I really like the stylistic choice that they went with, and you know, even though there's a lot of locked off shots as well, I don't think it hinders from the cinematography of this film or the storytelling in any way, shape, or form. And you know, it was a stylistic choice that they went with and kind of did away with in this film, but I think it's one that really works. At least for me, it works. And you know, take my opinions for what they are, and take it with a grain of salt, because you know, all in all, movies are art, and art is subjective. There is no right or wrong answer to your preferences or mine. But whenever it comes to the filming of this movie in particular, I am a huge fan of the cinematic choices that they made for this film. Moving right along in our positives list, we have... This is one of the best, if not the best version of Chucky that we get throughout the entire franchise. In this film, we get better quips, better kills,
better pizza, Papa John's.
In this film, Brad Dourif really shines as the voice of Chucky. He is a lot more animated, a lot more aggressive in recording his lines. It sounds substantially better, and it makes Chucky feel that much more menacing.
You little shit, do you know what you've done? It's too late! I've spent too much time in this body! I'm fucking trapped in here!
Not to mention the sculpt of the puppet itself. This is one of the best iterations of Chucky that we get, paired nicely with the puppeteering that makes his face look substantially more menacing. Not to mention some of the best one-liners from Chucky throughout the entire franchise. I really, really love Chucky's quips in this film. I'm not a big quippy guy, but whenever it comes to, you know, talking shit while trying to kill you, I think Chucky is the best at it.
How's it hanging, Phil?
And an argument can be made that Freddy is the best shit talker, but for me, it's going to be Chucky all day long. Again, that is just my opinion. If you disagree, fine. I will take this opportunity to have you guys sound off in the comments below. Who do you think is the better shit talker? Is it Chucky or is it Freddy? Let me know in the comments below. Chucky in this film is unlike any other, and this is the most Chucky that we get throughout the franchise, and I love him to death. Now, talking about Chucky and what makes Chucky really cool in this film, we go on to our next positive, which is... the puppeteering in this film is some of the best in the franchise. There's a lot more intricacies in Chucky's movements and the puppet itself in this film, and I think that it works so well. Like, Chucky can emote a lot better. He looks meaner in this film, and his movements are a lot better than they were in the first film, a lot less jittery and a lot more fluid. Like, Chucky's puppet is a lot more fluid in this film and a lot more expressive in this film, and that's just due to the updated technology of the puppets at the time, and I think it pays off very well in this film. This is some of the best puppeteering in all of cinema, yeah, so shouts out to the crew for making a wonderful puppet, and it's phenomenal. I think that this is some of the best puppeteering throughout all of all cinema, not just horror, but cinema in general. I think this is some of the best. So yeah, puppeteering, definitely a positive for me. So with that being said, let's move on to our next positive, which is... I love the kills in this movie, like, more so than I did the original Child's Play. Like, sure, some of them might be a little bit cartoony, like the eyes stabbed into the head of the worker, but you know, it's a movie about a killer doll. They get leeway for you know, cartoony kills, because I mean, given the subject matter of the movie, you can get away with a lot of goofiness in some of the kills. But yeah, these kills are among my favorite in the franchise. Not quite my favorite in the franchise. That belongs to a different movie that we'll talk relatively soon about. Yeah, I love the kills in this film. I think they're done great. I think they're executed well. See what I did there? But yeah, I have no complaints with the kills in this film whatsoever. So definitely had to go on the positive list. So moving right along into our positives list, we have... Now, whenever it comes to horror films, slasher films especially, it's not often that I root for the protagonists, but in this film, I like the protagonists just as much as I love the antagonist, and that's all due to the on-screen chemistry between Andy and Kyle. They really do have a great on-screen chemistry together, and I think they mesh really well, and you don't see that too often, especially with the age gap between the two. But they do really nail the big sister, little brother kind of vibe, and yeah, I think they definitely work together well, and definitely one of my favorite parts of this movie is their friendship, and I'm really happy to see that they progressed that friendship in the TV show, and you know, it's just they even in the TV show, like whenever they're fully grown up adults, they still have that bond that really translates well on screen. So yeah, definitely love Andy and Kyle in this film for sure. And now, my friends, we move onward to my final positive, which is the entire third act of this film is absolutely phenomenal. Not only is it the best third act in this franchise, it is one of the best final acts in any horror movie, and I will die on that hill. I really love the fact that Chucky does successfully pull off the Ade Dewey Dambala incantation and realizes it's too late and he's stuck in the doll's body. And then I love that after the fact that he realizes that he can't body swap, that he is hell-bent on killing Andy at that point. And yeah, that creates for some oh shit kind of tension throughout the entire end of the film. And there are moments where Chucky does have the upper hand and could have won, but he was in a 1v2 situation, which you never want to be in. Like when I'm gaming, I personally panic in those situations. But yeah, the entire third act in Child's Play 2 is absolutely phenomenal. There's not one moment that I could pick that would outdo the others, so I just had to kind of cheat and blanket the whole third act, because fuck, it's so good. So that's just about going to do it for my positives list, and now we move on to the not so positives list with oh no, there is no negative. This is a perfect movie. Moving on. So although I do love the third act, that could easily be my favorite scene in the film, the award for my favorite scene in this film is going to have to be Mrs. Kettlewell's death.
You've been very naughty, Miss Kettlewell.
Now, the reason that this is my favorite scene in the movie is there's a couple reasons. One, this is the scene that traumatized me whenever I was like 4 years old, and I had a My Buddy doll, and I walked into a room and that scene was going off, and it scared the shit out of me, thinking that my doll was going to come to life and try to kill me. So, you know, I got history with that scene alone. But the main reason that it is my favorite scene in the entire movie is because it really showcases how good the puppeteering is in this film. You know, whenever we see Chucky walking towards Miss Kettlewell with the yardstick and he's playing with it in his hand, it really just showcases how good the puppeteering is in this film. And I'm a huge fan of puppets and puppeteering and learning how any of that shit works. I hats off. I don't have the patience for it, so you know, I always appreciate it whenever I see a good practical effect in the form of a puppet. I will always sing the praises of practical effects, and this is one that I will die on the hill that practical effects are better than any CGI. There's a reason that Chucky has never fully been CGI. I mean, there's a couple instances in like the TV show and some of the more recent movies that, I mean, for practical sake, it had to be done. But, you know, overall, he's always been a puppet, and there's a reason for that, because a puppet gives Chucky life. And the Miss Kettlewell scene really showcases off how good the puppeteering is in this franchise. That crew did a phenomenal job, and because it traumatized me and because it shows off how great of a puppet Chucky is, Miss Kettlewell's death is my favorite scene in this film. So now with that out of the way, it's time to score this out of 10. And I'm sure to nobody's surprise, I'm going to give this a perfect 10 out of 10 rating. I think this is the only perfect film in the franchise. And you know, this is going to spoil my franchise ranking, but this is my favorite and what I believe to be the best film in the franchise. So yeah, for that, it's getting a perfect 10 out of 10. So that is just about going to do it for me. If you liked the video, let me know by leaving me a like. Comment down below what you want to see on the channel next. I will do my best to accommodate. I really will. And until next time, my name is Nightshade. This has been The Night Shift, and I will see you in the next video. Stay spooky, my friends.